Lesson 7 is adding and subtracting to solve problems. So without computing, it wants to know if the solution to negative 2.7 plus x equals negative 3.5 would be positive or negative. So is the x value for this equation a positive or negative number? If you said negative, you are correct. Number 2, select all of the expressions that are solutions to negative 2.7 plus x equals negative 3.5. So we know, thinking back to fact families like the previous lesson, I can start with my sum here. So negative 3.5 minus the number that I'm given, which is negative 2.7. And that would tell me what x equals. So if you look at C, negative 3.5 minus negative 2.7, so that would be a solution to this expression. So thinking about how we can rewrite it, when it's subtraction, we can change to addition. So it's the keep, change, changed. First value stays the same. We change to addition, and then we use the opposite of the second number. So the opposite of negative 2.7 is positive 2.7. So that means that A is also correct. 7.2, phone inventory. So a store tracks the number of cell phones it has in stock and how many phones it sells. The table shows the inventory for one phone model at the beginning of each day last week. The inventory changes when they sell phones or get shipments of phones in the store. What do you think it means when the change is positive? So the values in this column, if it is a positive number, here for example, what would that mean? Okay, so if my phone inventory is changing with a positive value, then that means my inventory is increasing. So if it's positive, my inventory is increasing. What about when it's negative? So if it's negative, that must mean my inventory is decreasing. Okay. What do you think it means when the inventory is positive? So in this column, if I have a positive number, what could that mean? One thing could be that's how many people, how many phones there are in the store. So positive inventory could mean the number of phones in stock. What about if it's negative? Sorry, this pen doesn't write very good. So if it's negative, can I have a negative amount of phones? Not physically, but maybe that means, for example, on Friday, it showed my inventory was at negative 2. So that could mean that I sold all of my phones in the store that day, and a customer ordered 2 phones, and we're waiting for those to come in. So the negative could just represent a phone that is on order. So ordered phones. Number 3 says, based on the information in the table, what do you think the inventory will be at on Saturday morning? So we'll take a second to look at the table. You can just pause the video. What would it be at on Saturday morning? Okay, so I know my inventory is at negative 2. So I have 2 phones on order for a customer. And on Friday, I have an increase of inventory of 20 phones. So if 2 people ordered phones and I received 20 phones, what is my new inventory number? So I know my inventory was at -2. My change was +20. If 2 customers had a phone on order and I received 20 phones, how many phones will I actually have in inventory then? So I was currently at -2. I added 20 phones. So that would put me at 18 phones. Number 4 says, what is the difference between the greatest inventory and the least inventory? So if we look back at our table, our greatest amount of inventory was 18 phones. Our least amount of inventory was -2 phones. And we want to know what the difference between those are. So 18 minus -2. So it's best to always change to addition if you can. First one stays the same. Change subtraction to addition. And change the value to its opposite. So -2, the opposite would be +2. So 18 plus 2 equals 20. So the difference is 20. 7.3 says Han's family got a solar panel. Each month they get a credit to their account for the electricity that is generated by the solar panel. The credit they receive varies based on how sunny it is. So if it's really rainy one month, a lot of clouds, not a whole lot of sun, they're not going to get as much of a solar credit as they will in the summer when the sun's shining all day long with no cloud coverage. So here we see their electricity bill from January. So they used $83.56 worth of electricity, but they generated $6.75 worth of electricity. In July, they were traveling away from home and only used $19.24 worth of electricity. Their solar panel generated $22.75 worth of electricity. So how could we determine the amount that they had to pay in July? $19.24. And a credit would mean it's being credited towards that amount, so that would be a subtraction. So we get a $22.75 credit, which it's better to write it as addition. So $19.24 plus -$22.75. Okay, so if I think of a number line and I'm at 19.24 on my number line, and I travel 22.75 units to the left, that negative tells me I'm traveling left, I would end up at -$3.51. So their amount due in July was -$3.51. Of course, you can't pay a negative balance, so that just means they had a $3.51 credit towards the next month left over. So number 2, it says the table shows the value of the electricity they used and the value of the electricity they generated each week for a month. So we have to figure out how much we would pay for this month. So I know I used $13.45 this week, but I generated $6.33. So I can just subtract that. So $13.45 minus the $6.33 that I generated, I would pay $7.12 for that week. $21.78, but I had a credit of $8.94. Therefore, for that week, I just need to pay $12.84. Week 3, $18.12 minus my $7.70 credit leaves me paying $10.42. And then week 4, $24.05 minus my $5.36 credit leaves me paying $18.69. So to figure out my total amount due for this month, I would add these all together. So we have $7.12 plus $12.84 plus $10.42 plus $18.69, which gives us a total balance of $49.07. So this is how much he would pay for his electric bill that month. On number 3, it says, what is the difference between the value of the electricity generated in week 1 and week 2? So it wants to know what the difference is. So in week 1, we generated negative $6.33. Week 2 was negative $8.94. So since I have a subtraction, I'm going to change that to addition. So negative $6.33 plus, now I got to use the opposite of this, so plus $8.94. And if I completed this on a number line, I would land at $2.61. So that's the difference between week 1 and week 2. For week 2 and week 3, we have negative $8.94 minus negative $7.70. Again, change to addition, $8.94 plus opposite of my second value, which is positive $7.70. If you notice, my negative is almost at negative 9, and the positive value that I'm moving is less than 8. So I'm not going to reach 0 yet. So that means my answer will still be a negative amount. So the difference between week 2 and week 3 is a negative $1.24. Okay, differences in distances. So it wants us to plot these points on a coordinate grid. So for point A, it wants us to have an x value of 5 and a y value of 4. So that would be right here. And I know that's point A. Point B is at x of 5, but my y is at negative 2, so that would be right here. Point C is at negative 3 and negative 2. And D is at negative 3, positive 4. Okay, number 1 says what shape is made if you connect the dots in order. So if I connect all my dots, so that creates a rectangle. Okay, it says what are the side lengths of figure A, B, C, and D? So side length A and AB, if I start at positive 4, I'm traveling to negative 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 units. And since it's a rectangle, I know this side is the same as well. So what about BC? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is 8 units long, which is the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, number 3 says, what is the difference between the x-coordinates of B and C? So points B and C, I have an x-coordinate of 5 for B and an x-coordinate of negative 3 for C. So to find the difference in those, it's 5 minus negative 3. I will want to rewrite that as 5 plus the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So B and C are 8 units apart, which we determined here. Number 4, what is the difference between the x-coordinates of C and B? So I write C first. And my x-coordinate for C is at negative 3. And I'm finding difference, so it's subtraction. The x-coordinate of B is 5. So again, rewrite it as addition. So that's negative 3 plus, I have a positive 5, therefore it's now a negative 5. When you're adding two numbers that have the same sign, your answer, you just add and then your answer will have the same sign. So negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8 units. So that means it's 8 units to the left to get to C. Okay, so it says sometimes we use positive and negative numbers to represent quantities in context. So some contexts that we have studied that can be represented with positive and negative numbers include temperature, elevation, inventory, account balance, and electricity flowing in and out. So in these situations, positive and negative numbers help us understand and analyze them. So we have to understand what it means if the quantity is positive, what it means when it's negative, and what it means to add and subtract. So the distance between two numbers is independent of the order. So that means that the order of those do not matter. So up here, the distance between B and C and B is still 8 units, but difference is when the order matters, because that will tell me if it's a positive or negative. So distance does not need positive or negative signs. The difference does depend on the sign, so it's important to include your sign on that.